วัสดีครับผมอาจารย์ไบรอันนะครับของมกรุงเทพธนบุรีพร้อมยังครับ Are you ready? Afternoon. Are you Mr. Davidson? Nuria and Akiko. Okay. So this subject is about business. No, it's not correct. สวัสดีครับ and this is Ajahn Brian again for the subject MPA101.And so I hope you're having a nice day. Today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday, and Sunday is a weekend for some. But for some of you, will be here at my university to study a Sunday class. It's really hot. But today morning when I was coming to university, I thought it's going to rain. I said, wow, I hope it's raining, but it didn't. Like it looked like raining. เหมือนกันฝนตก but it didn't rain, you know. I was hoping that it would rain, and I'm hoping it will rain again. Be careful.Take care of yourself. It's really hot. But I heard that in some places, somewhere in the north, like the province of Nan, it rained yesterday, but not in Bangkok. It's not raining. I hope it rains because the temperatures will come down. It's really scorching hot. It's long mark. It's really hot. Long, you know, they say long sut. Yes, it's true. It's really hot. So be careful. Okay, so today we are going to study the subject MPA101 and continue with a number of and the number of. The last tape, the last class I taught you about one and ones. One is used for ekapod, ones is used for pahupod. Like,This word one and ones are used in place of a noun. Like for example, I want to buy some shoes, the blue ones, because shoes are two. I want to buy a pen, the red one, because pen is one pen. Understand? So,We use one and ones when it is singular or plural. Okay. Now, today we are going to do a number of and the number of. The number of is followed by a singular verb, while the expression a number of is followed by a plural of. For example, the number of people we need to hire is 13.Okay, a number of people have written about the subject. That means a group of people, a lot of people, not one. Okay, let's go to exercise 4, the number versus a number. So the first one, he says, the number of people lined up for tickets were 400. Number 2, a number of suggestions were made.Number 3, there were a number of important announcements in the bulletin. Bulletin is the place where you put your, you know, it's like a board where you put the notices, what's happening where. Number 3, there are a number of important announcements in the bulletin.Number 4, here is the number of milkshakes you requested. Number 5, a number of shoes in our factory are exported to Asian countries. Okay, let's go to page number 31, please, page 31.And it's called Unit 5, and we say red tape. Okay, so page 31, what are the main things we are going to study here? Now, what are the things that the student will be able to learn at the end of this unit? So first of all,You'll be able to understand what is the meaning of a red tape. What is a red tape? Red tape is not a red tape, you know, that the tape you put on the board or a paper or a sticky gummy thing that you put on the table or somewhere to stick something. It's a different meaning. It is not the tape that you see red in color. It's a different thing. So, the first one is correctly explain what messages are in the news headline. So, when you read the paper, like for example, you go to manager.com and you know exactly what is in the newspaper. So, number 3 is correctly use words and phrases as well as grammatical patterns in speaking and writing. Okay, let's go to page 33, and it says English for public administrator, and the words that you may want to know. The first one is called a red tape. It's like a political word that is used when people do something wrong. Okay. Next one is competitiveness. Competitiveness, like it can be used in business language too. Like for example, Pepsi and Coke are two products that are always competing with one another. Understand? Like, for example, our university, Bangkok University, is always competing with Mahidol or Chulalongkorn or Thammasat or Kasetsat. Because all these universities are basically looking for students. So, there is always competition wherever you go. In whatever you do, we are competing with one another. Even in the animal world, the animals compete. Like Charles Darwin once said that only those species that can compete with one another, only those species that can fight and survive will produce offsprings and be able to live and fine-tune themselves as the years go by. But we need to be competitive, which is important. The next is enhance, and then fall behind. Like for example, you don't go to class every day, you don't come to study every day, you'll fall behind in your grades. Because a teacher cannot wait for one student or cancel the class for one because one student is missing. Understand? Okay, so we shouldn't fall behind. It's, for example, in any aspect of your life. Like for example, you are supposed to pay your installments for your life insurance, for example, for AIA, or I know only AIA. Supposing you're supposed to pay your AIA insurance of like 4,000 or 5,000 baht a month, for example, and 1 month you can't, due to financial problems, you cannot. And then the next month you'll have to pay 8,000 because you fell behind the last month's installment. So that's very important that you don't fall behind in anything in your life. If you fall behind in any one part of your life, to get back to that stand is very difficult. That's the meaning of fall behind. You should always fall ahead of or you should be on time or ahead of whatever you want to do, but don't be one step behind. You should be one step ahead. The next is called bribery. Bribery means taking money under the table. Some people call it tea money in a little better way, not to call, because saying that you are taking bribes, you want to money under the table. Well, it's a little bit of a stronger word, but if you want to say, I can give you tea money, it sounds better. Instead of being so abrupt or being so very, very, what do you call it, ภาษาไทยเรียกว่าแรงมาก No. Instead of saying that way, you can say it in a nicer way, like, I can give you tea money. No, you can't say, I can bribe you. I mean, it's a straightforward word, but it's not like impolite word, or it's like too strong a word. Like, for example, they say, are you lying? like it's like very strong word. But if you say, are you pulling my legs? Are you taking me for a walk? It also means you're lying, but in a lighter way, in a more polite way. For example, somebody is very, very fat. You can't say, oh, you are as fat as a hippo. That's too strong word. So you could say, oh, you are on the plump side. I think you should exercise a little bit. That would make things better. Next is called requirements. Requirement, what do you need? For example, if you want to do your bachelor's degree at BTU, you need to have a grade 12 certificate or some equivalent of a grade 12 so that you can study a bachelor's degree. Or if you want to do a master's degree, you should have an equivalent of a bachelor's degree somewhere, a valid certificate. To find a girlfriend, for example, what do you need to do? You should be very handsome, right? So that's a requirement. Oh, it's just a joke. Okay, let's go to a reading passage, please. Vietnam to cut business and red tape to support SMEs. Move expected to enhance competitiveness of Vietnamese private sector. Workers at the TAL garment factory, garment means the factory that make clothes, in Vinh Phuc province, I hope I pronounced it correctly, Vietnam, plans to simplify the administrative process could boost the country's business environment. So there is a garment factory at Vinh Phuc province, Vinhphuc. Ho Chi Minh City. Vietnam's Ministry of Vietnam's Ministry of Industry and Trade plans to cut business and investment red tape in half in order to simplify the administrative process specifically for private, small and medium enterprises. The move is a historical change in Vietnam's administrative environment. A lot of business people describe government red tape for being too complicated and beyond understanding, and it's a huge barrier for businesses. So Vietnam is planning to do something to improve upon its business sector because they are trying to compete with the world market. Going to page number 34. Analysts and business people often complain that many rules and regulations on the business in the Communist Party do not meet international regulations. So they feel that Vietnam is not reaching to international standards, such as requirements on minimum or legal capital or human resource rules. Furthermore, the condition can also make business easily exposed to corruption and bribery. So, the government feels that in case, for example, the business is not very good, it will still follow red tapeism. That means corruption and bribery will thrive. So they don't want to do that. A survey reported by the Vietnam Private Sector Forum showed that 44% of the enterprises said they missed market opportunities because of legal barriers and restrictions. The cuts, which are part of the ministry's ongoing reforms, promise to reduce administrative difficulties in business. Not long ago, a number of Vietnamese startups have registered their business in Singapore instead of Vietnam. They found it easier for Vietnamese startups to raise investment funds from overseas sources rather than at home. Vietnam has fallen behind in its Southeast Asian peers in the World Bank's Doing Business Index. The institution suggested that the country needs to do better at supporting early-stage businesses, particularly in areas such as dealing with construction permits, getting access to credit, registering property, and enforcing contracts. Vietnam ranked 82 out of 190 countries according to the latest Doing Business report, falling behind its neighbors, including Singapore, which came in second place, Malaysia 23rd, Thailand 46th, and Brunei 72nd. The country's business environment is changing as the government seeks to develop the private sector. However, the results are neither meeting the expectations of enterprise nor government targets. Since 2016, Vietnam's government has tried to improve the country's business environment. Vietnam's premier means like the leader, the head, has held a series of meetings, dialogues, and conferences with local enterprises this year, promising to create a better business environment for the private sector and SMEs. Okay, so that was the reading passage. Let's go to page number 35, please. Page 35. And page 35, again, we change the verb. Verb is analyze and change to analyst and analysis, noun. So, describe is a verb. Description is a noun. Change the verbs to nouns. Next, administrative. And noun will be administration. Next is expect. And the noun will be expectation. The next word is invest. And the noun will be investment. The verb is compete. And the noun is competition. Okay, please turn to page 35, Samsipha, exercise 1. Okay, let's go to number 1. Henry is a financial analyst. You have to use a noun. Who is famous for his analysis on economic trends. Number 2, Laura wanted to express her feelings for Andy, but only words could not describe him. Number 3, thousands of applications compete for the same job. Like for example, if some factory is in need of workers. Okay, next one. The company has expectations of making profit next year. It wants to make a lot of profit next year. And number 5, the last one. The government should invest more money in local agriculture because most people in every country are farmers. And remember, farmers cannot keep the country clean unless everyone gets together and helps. Because 70% of a country's revenue comes from farming and agriculture. And remember, agriculture and farming is a gamble in the monsoons because it doesn't rain as much as it used to before. Before, rains were very heavy, but now there are no rains. So the farmers literally have to struggle and wait for nature to come and help them. Now, going to the next topic is language newspaper headlines. When you open up any newspaper like the Bangkok Post or the Nation, you'll find strange and shocking headlines. Sometimes those headlines you can't even believe. Okay, now, whenever you read a newspaper, a newspaper has got maybe 12 pages. You might not have the time to read through all the news that is going on there. You can't. Impossible. So in the beginning, what you can do is skim and scan, like all go through the headlines. Go through the headlines and you think, look at which stories do you think are important first. And then read those stories first. And then keep the remaining for your lunch break, or for example, you're commuting by train or taxi, you can read. For example, if you try to drive your own car, then basically, frankly speaking, you can't rest because you got to be concentrating on the roads. So there are advantages and disadvantages of coming by car or taking the public transportation. So it says, a newspaper headline is a very short summary of a news report. Like for example, there was an accident in the Nan province in the Vaucluse area. Many people have died there. So they just put the headline, they say, serious accident in serious accident in Nan. And then if you are interested in that, you can read the story. So it's a very short line, but it will be put in black font, like block letters. Headlines are always in block letters, so you can read through it. Going to page number 36. Page 36, please. Now, we know we have grammar called present simple, past simple, present continuous. These are the three forms of grammar that is being used every day. So the present simple tense, it tells you that an activity happens every day and is true. Like for example, I say, Professor Brian teaches at Bangkok Thunberg University. Okay. The past simple tells you an action that has happened already, started and happened in the past. And the present continuous tells you that an action is happening now at the time of speaking. Example, a present simple. Professor Brian teaches at Bangkok Thunberg University every day. Number 2 is a past simple. I went to Central Salaya yesterday. Okay. Present continuous. I am teaching on BTU channel right now. Because that action is happening now, at the moment, at this time. Okay, so you can go through the page number 36. It says, it tells you more in detail about, it tells you more details. So let's go to exercise 1, page 36. Read the following newspaper headline, then choose the most grammatically correct sentences which explains the headlines. Number 1, warning given about computer virus. This is the headline. So number 1 headline is warning given about computer virus. So the answer matching should be 1. Warning gave about computer virus. Number 2 says warning is given about computer virus. So which is the correct one, A or B? So the answer should be B. Warning is given about computer virus. Let's go to topic headline number 2. Over 100 killed in blast. A. Over 100 people killed in car bomb. So the answer is over 100 people killed in a car bomb. A. B. Over 100 people were killed in a car bomb. So the answer should be B, because A grammatically wrong. Number 3 says, policemen gunned down drug traffickers. A. Policemen gunned down drug traffickers. B. Policemen are gunning down drug traffickers. So which is the correct one? So the correct one is A. Policemen gun down drug traffickers. Number 4. Prime Minister to visit Russia in May. A. Prime Minister visited Russia in May. Then, so Prime Minister to visit Russia in May, his answer should be way, because it says to visit. That means in the future. So Prime Minister is going to visit Russia in May. Remember, we use present continuous for the future when we are sure about the plans. When the plans are fixed and everything is okay. Number 5 says, Chinese tourists robbed and killed. So A said, Chinese tourists were robbed and killed. B said, Chinese tourists was robbed and killed. No, because the word was is not correct, because the tourists, they say Chinese tourists, so it should be more than one, were robbed and killed. Because if you want to use was, then you have to say Chinese tourists, no S. It should be a singular noun. Comes present perfect and present perfect continuous. Present perfect tells you that an action happened in the past and affect now. While a present perfect continuous tells you an action has been happening from the past to now and go to the future. So the difference between the two is that present perfect tells you an action happened in the past and there's an effect now. For example, Professor Brian has eaten my breakfast. Or Professor Brian finished tape 1. So I don't have to do tape 1 again. For present perfect continuous, I can say, Professor Brian has been recording a tape of MPA101. That means I started it in the past, I'm doing it at present, and maybe it won't finish, it has to go to the future. Or for example, I can say, the sun has been shining since morning. It's been there since 7:30 or 6:30 a.m. and it will go on till afternoon and go on till 6:30 p.m. when the sun sets, when the sun goes down in the west. So that's present perfect continuous. And present perfect is like it's going to finish in a few minutes. So the present perfect tells you that an action happened in the past and affect now. A present perfect continuous tells you that an action is started in the past, will be here, and will continue. Or another example, I have taught at BTU for 1 year. Present perfect simple. Present perfect continuous, I have been teaching at BTU for 16 years. Understand? Okay, so exercise 1, page 37. Please do it for homework. ทำการบ้าน please. Exercise 2, page 37. Choose the best answer. Okay, I'll do the เฉลย number 1. The children are hungry. They have been playing in the garden for hours. Okay, so please do exercise 2. Continue from number 2 to the end. Thank you so much for being with me, and see you again soon for tape number 4 and 5 and 6 and so on. So that was Teacher Brian, Professor Brian for MPA101. Thank you for being with me, and สวัสดีครับ Bye bye. See you.
สถาบันการศึกษาทางไกลเรียนทางไกลต้องทำอย่างไรบ้างการเรียนทางไกลนักศึกษาสามารถเข้ามาดูสื่อที่เป็นวิดีโอหรือสื่อมัลติมีเดียและอ่านจากตำราเรียนได้เลยค่ะแบบทดสอบก่อนเรียนและหลังเรียนต้องทำหรือไม่แบบทดสอบก่อนเรียนเป็นการวัดความรู้ว่านักศึกษามีความรู้มากน้อยแค่ไหนหลังจากที่เราผ่านการทำแบบทดสอบก่อนเรียนบทเรียนต่างๆแล้วนะคะจากนั้นเราจะมาทำแบบทดสอบหลังเรียนก่อนที่จะถึงการสอบปลายภาคที่กำหนดไว้ค่ะติดตามข่าวสารได้ที่ไหนคะเรื่องการติดตามข้อมูล มูลข่าวสารเป็นเรื่องที่สำคัญสำหรับการเรียนทางไกลดังนั้นอยากให้นักศึกษาดูที่หน้าระบบการเรียนเป็นหลักนะคะซึ่งจะมีทีมงานของเราคอยอัปเดตข้อมูลข่าวสารไม่ว่าจะเป็นสอบวันไหนอย่างไรหรือว่าจะเป็นประกาศต่างๆขอให้นักศึกษาอยู่ที่หน้าระบบการเรียนเป็นหลักและที่สำคัญนะคะอยากให้นักศึกษาเข้าเรียนอาทิตย์ละ 2 ครั้งถือว่ากำลังดีเลยค่ะเริ่มเรียนอย่างไรในทางไกลเข้าสู่ระบบเว็บไซต์พิมพ์ข้อความ btude.demyis.com เข้าสู่ระบบใส่รหัสนักศึกษาตามด้วย @bkkthon.ac.th และตามด้วยใส่รหัสนักศึกษาด้านล่างได้เลยค่ะจากนั้นกดไปที่หลักสูตรของฉันทั้งปริญญาตรีและปริญญาโทเลือกรับชมวิดีโอการสอนหรืออ่านตำราในอีบุ๊กได้ตามสะดวกเลยค่ะทำแบบฝึกหัด10 คะแนนแบบทดสอบ 10 คะแนนกิจกรรม 20 คะแนนและสอบปลายภาค 60 คะแนนค่ะเมื่อพบข้อสงสัย LINE ID @btude หรือโทรทันที 02-800-6800 ต่อ 2121 หรือต้องการคำปรึกษาที่มากกว่าโทร 083-224-7156 ดร.โสภัส โสภาพิมุขผู้อำนวยการสถาบันการศึกษาทางไกลแล้วพบกันที่สถาบันการศึกษาทางไกลมหาวิทยาลัยกรุงเทพธนบุรีนะคะ
เมื่อคุณมีเป้าหมายที่จะเรียนสถาบันการศึกษาทางไกลมหาวิทยาลัยกรุงเทพธนบุรีพร้อมที่จะทำให้คุณเรียนและทำงานไปด้วยได้ทั้งงานและความรู้ไม่ต้องห่วงเรื่องเวลาเรียนไม่กระทบงานประจำเรียนได้ทุกสถานที่เรียนได้ทุกเวลาเข้าดูเทปการสอนฟังการบรรยายทำแบบฝึกหัดรับผลคะแนนเพียงเท่านี้คุณก็พร้อมก้าวไปสู่ความสำเร็จให้เราสร้างความภาคภูมิใจให้กับคุณสถาบันการศึกษาทางไกลมหาวิทยาลัยกรุงเทพธนบุรีเปิดรับสมัครแล้ววันนี้ 02-800-6800 ถึง 5